し金の玉なら N それてめえが玉持ってたんかい。この玉のこと知ってるのね。この玉は渡さないわよ。これは私が世界を救うために授かった神聖な玉なんだから。ちげえわ、オカルンの金玉だよ。返せボケ。
You know, one of the things I've been really wondering week over week, when it comes to Dandadan, is when it comes to the occult and kind of like the ghost and like the supernatural stuff that has happened, can people see that or not? And I had the question last week and I wanted to bring it up, but to be 100%, I freaking forgot. When they were running through the school, I think they were running through a school or an office building and they were just causing chaos and stuff was just happening. Like, what does it look to the average person? Like, do they see what's happening as well? Because when Okarun or when Ken or whatever originally went into the, what do they call it? Railway, subway, when he went into like the big hole or whatever, roadway, railway, whatever you call it, he began to see Turbo Granny. So it's like, you have to assume that, at that point, he didn't have any connection with the occult. So it's like, it's not like he has something specific just because of him, he could see it. But then when he turns into his other form, or when they were causing chaos in the city and stuff, and when they were getting attacked by the big crab, it's like a lot of chaos is happening. Like, what happens to all that chaos? Is that chaos in some kind of like alternate dimension, alternate universe thing? Because they never really mention or touch on it. And I guess the answer to that is yes. And you guys who are maybe more familiar with the source material, where maybe they cover it in more detail, can please educate me and maybe us, some of us. I'll just take the bullet there. Just educate me in the comments, because this episode kind of solidified for it. So pink hair girl gets Okarun's ball, right? He gets his balls, which aren't tiny. They were like, yo, it's gonna be little tiny little BB balls, and it was a big sphere. But she got his balls, and because of that, as she touched it and stopped touching it, she was able to see the fight that they were having on the subway train, or on the train. Where Ken and ISA were fighting Turbo Granny. She was able to see that moment, and she kind of, she caught his balls. And the whole time I was thinking like, yo, okay, so maybe they can't see that. And that was even further accentuated this episode where, Ken loses his mind because, the bullies are bullying him. And they're like, oh, introduce us to ISA. We heard she's an easy lay. And he gets all mad. And he ends up turning into his alternate form to use his powers. But the kid doesn't see that. He just sees Ken manhandling him. He's like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, oh, shit. He doesn't see him like how we're seeing him. So that's just so interesting to me. And I don't know if they're ever going to dive in, at least in the anime. I don't know if, or maybe even in the source, I don't know if they're ever going to dive deep into why that is. Because again, originally, Okarun or whatever wasn't able to see it either, but then he was. So is it something like, I don't know, like you guys have to tell me what the medium is for them to be able to see or not see it. Is it just like spiritual connection? I don't know. But that kind of solidified it. And then it's even further as pink hair girl has the ball. She was able to see the lady in the red dress who kept following her. And don't get it twisted, kept following her specifically. Not Ken, not ISA. It was following pink hair girl because of some connection she had with her when she was younger, which makes sense because they do say that kids do tend to have connections with ghosts if they're real. Kids too tend to have that and they're able to see it. That's why sometimes kids are just kind of staring at like the corner of a wall. You're like, what the fuck are they looking at? But really they're looking at like a spirit or something. At least that's what is widely said in stories and in, ghost stuff when people are into that occult stuff. That's what's usually said. Kids tend to have a bigger connection to that side, and then they lose it as they get older. So it makes sense that she had a connection to this red lady person at some point and confused her for her mom because she was a little kid at that point. But that established her connection. So, again, educate me and stuff. But this episode I thought was awesome. I love how the pink hair girl is just so absolutely conceited. She thinks she's the hottest stuff ever to hit the earth. She thinks that she's worth and needs to be graced everything. She thinks that's why she was granted these powers from the heavens, which is really just Ken's balls. That's why she is, you know, she took action on Ayase because she feels like some kind of hero complex because she was bestowed beauty and grace, essentially. And I just love that. I just thought it was just so funny. And then what is interesting on top of the funny is Ken and Ayase, their relationship with each other. Ken's finally waking up to the fact that Ayase is attractive and he might actually be attracted to her. He even himself, although they've had moments, he was just kind of thinking he was just so excited to have somebody who was willing to spend time with him, give him time, be a friend, be these things that he's never had before. I don't think he truly thought like, oh, am I attracted to her? Do I like her in that sense? And even if that was in the back of his head, it wasn't brought forward until right now. And then from Ayase stuff, she just gets all hot and bothered about the fact that like, yo, why is Ken avoiding me and stuff like that, you know? He white knighted for me, which she loved, obviously, but he's still avoiding me. So when they got brought together, you know, Ken's still very shy and squeamish, and it was just such a cute thing to be able to see. And then obviously the end had the fight with the red dress lady. It had the fight with the red dress lady at the end, which I thought was really, really good and really well done. And I love how it left off in a cliffhanger. It just feels like we're watching a bigger story unfold as opposed to episode end, episode start, episode end. I really like that quite a bit too. So Dandadan episode 6, this anime has just been so good. It did have one lull episode, but other than that, like it's been really, really good. And this episode was really, really good as well. I laughed. I gasped a few times. I thought it was just really, really good overall. So episode 6, I think it was a 9 out of 10. This was really solid. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, those are my thoughts. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you next week. Peace.